I'd like to call to order the Thursday, March the 28th meeting of the Police Service Board for the town of Tecumseh. And I note that all are present here on our board, Mayor McNamara, Councillor Tenale, members Mark Gomes, Paul Sweet, and myself, Chris Hales. We also have two of our town councillors here, as this is our final meeting under the existing act. So we welcome Councillors Dorner and Houston to our meeting. Good to see you here. With regard to tonight's or this afternoon's agenda, is there any declaration of pecuniary interest with regard to the business? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item D is approval of the agenda, that the agenda for the Police Service Board meeting dated Thursday, March 28th, 2024, as duplicated and delivered to the members thereof be accepted. And I am looking for a mover. Rick Tenale and a seconder. Your worship, I think you hand up first. All in favor? Thank you. Passed. We'll go on to item E, the approval of our previous minutes. That the regular minutes of the February 15th, 2024 Police Service Board meeting be as duplicated and delivered to the members thereof be adopted. And I'm looking for a mover. Mark Gomes, a seconder, Paul Sweet. Any discussion on those minutes? I read them. I didn't see anything wrong. Okay, then all in favor? Thank you. Passed. Our monthly report, our OPP report, and I understand Staff Sergeant Smith, you're in the barrel. So we invite you to start. We just remind you that to call out the page number as we scroll through it so that we can keep up with you. And I assume that we are doing the February report. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Chair Hales. We go to page 4 to the top calls for service. Correct. Just go to the next page. For the town of Tecumseh, the top calls for service, you'll see MVCs are the top, traffic complaints next, alarms, which are a little bit lower. The traffic enforcement's at 21. Down there, the ride programs at 13. I'd like to see that up a little bit more, but you'll see in the later report in regards to criminal code stats and POA stats that you'll see them higher there, which might have resulted in some of these proactive ride programs being down a bit. You go to the next page, please. So overall in February, the calls for service for Tecumseh are down from the previous year. In the county overall, we have seen a 3.4 increase, but we did see a decrease in Tecumseh. Year to date, it's showing a 6.5 increase overall. Next page, please. With the violent crime report, you'll see a significant increase from 12 down to 8 last year to 18. When I looked into this a little bit further, there was multiple assaults throughout the month of February, mostly related to domestic occurrences. And you can see below that, although we're showing a 0% increase across the board from last year, this time it did see an increase in Tecumseh here. Just underneath that, the property crimes, we're only at 29 there, which is good. If I went back to the previous pages with the property checks, we're asking officers to go out there every month to do those proactive patrols in areas that are being targeted for vehicle thefts, thefts from motor vehicles, or the break-in enters in the industrial areas, which still are occurring, but they are down in Tecumseh. We have seen an overall decrease of 17.9%. Again, relatively the same for motor vehicle collisions in Tecumseh. We're up a little bit from the previous years. We have seen an increase from year to date. There's 74 collisions that were diverted to the collision reporting center, and we do have 2 of them fully functioning now, both in Leamington and at Essex County Detachment here for members of the public to attend for those less serious crashes. Fatalities, we've got the long weekend coming up. We'll have the traffic initiative starting at midnight tonight, and that'll run until Monday at midnight. We've been fortunate here in Essex County so far, no fatalities. We'd like to keep it that way and keep them down with our proactive traffic enforcement, our ride programs, and the impaireds we've been getting that have increased significantly. For the impaireds for Tecumseh, you can see last year we had 7. We're down to 1 for this month, for the month of February for this year. It is showing an overall, 16% decrease from February 2024 compared to February 2023, but year to date, we've seen a 20% increase in impaired offenses. In relation to that, you'll see that there was 1 suspension that'll be related to the 1 impaired that we had for the month of February. That's just below there for the driver's license suspensions. Criminal code occurrences. Again, we did have 24 charges there, and 18 of those were related to assaults in February. We are seeing an increase in those offenses across the board. Just below that, drug offenses. For Tecumseh, we had 0. Many of the other ones that you're seeing there are vehicle stops where cannabis, marijuana is readily available to people within their vehicles, and those charges are dealt with most times, depending on the amounts, by way of a ticket, a PON. Next page, please. So traffic enforcement, you can see we're still in line with last year. We've had 100 tickets that were issued for the month of February. We did see a 48% increase in our offense notices in February compared to February 2023. On average, we're issuing 25.4 tickets compared to last year where it was 18 tickets. So that enforcement officers are out there. We've had many efficiencies within the county, within the organization to divert calls for service to our frontline support unit or to the communications center, or what Tecumseh did here with the 911 calls. That's provided more time for our officers to be out there. Just below that, you'll see the traffic stops, and you'll see there was 177 traffic stops, and we have 100 tickets and 100 warnings. So somebody might have 3 offenses, and the officer will decide to only issue 1 ticket, and then they'll provide a paper copy similar to the provincial offenses notice with a warning as well. And that's all tracked now through our ticketing. Next one, mental health calls. We're down in Tecumseh. And I believe when we did statistics, we asked our analyst last month, we had meetings with the hospital, and I can say Tecumseh has had the lowest calls for service in relation to mental health, the percentages. So that's good. We're seeing an overall decrease there. We do have our 4 mental health teams. We are looking at transitioning to same teams, but maybe a more proactive responding to calls. Some of the SOPs have changed recently in relation to that, so we're working through that. (911) calls, again, only 5 for Tecumseh. False alarms, they're down to 27. Ride programs, you're at 13. Foot patrol hours, 109.75. And then for auxiliary hours, we're low on that end, but you can see in Leamington, some of the other places, we are struggling with people volunteering for this. In addition, a lot of our auxiliary officers are getting hired for regular force, which is good. We lost quite a few recently, but fortunately for Essex County, they remained in Essex County, and there looks like there'll be more hired. We have approximately 44 spots we could fill, and we're sitting roughly at about 10. So we're leaning on the same people over and over again, but they're stepping up, and we're hopeful that we'll be hiring a lot more auxiliaries. So if you know anybody interested, now's the time. It's the same process as applying for a regular constable, pretty much. But if somebody's going to school and they don't have the time, or they're trying to get an education, that'd be great. And then just for notable occurrences, back in May 2023, all the way to February 2024, our Community Street Crimes Unit has been working on high-end thefts throughout Essex County. Many occurred in Lakeshore and Tecumseh, referred to as the Ladder Bandit. He was accessing the second floor of residences. Working with Windsor Police and other community partners, they were able to get a target and able to apprehend the suspect. And I believe there was a minimum of 17 charges or residents we closed out files for. So that was a good news story for everyone. And it was, again, mostly high-end jewelry at these properties. And that would be my report.
Well, thank you. Open for questions. Are there any questions? Paul, please.
Just curious, it's not specifically in the report here. How is the county doing as far as motor vehicle thefts? I mean, it's huge in the media everywhere else. I mean, are we impacted, or are we somewhat isolated from it?
No, we are still impacted here locally. I think it's went down somewhat with I believe it was Project Octagon that we had. We also had the grants recently with the car thefts. We're successful, and there's been a team put together, a task force. They're still occurring. A lot of them now seem to be crime of opportunity, whereas before it seemed more it was organized crime, but it still is occurring out there.
Correct. And were they still, like, even here going to like the Port of Montreal and places like that, like if that kind of distance?
Correct.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Are there any other questions with regard to maybe our inspector could talk about the 4 hires that came into the news today? Maybe you didn't see it.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the board, we were lucky to receive 4 additional recruits, 2 of them which were our auxiliary members prior, dedicated a number of hours of service. You will see us start reporting on those new officers with a photograph or a little bit of a story in the media with them. Same as our auxiliary members when we join. We have 6 additional recruits that are going into the next class as well. So you'll see lots of additional new members here. They come with a variety of life experience, different skills coming to us. And so we're lucky they graduated on the 12th. So they've just joined each of our platoons here, and we're happy to have them.
Excellent. Maybe now that we've got you in the crosshairs, you could maybe talk about the Cops for Kids camp, because you had a fundraiser going on today, and I'm sure this is the season where you're going to be very active in raising funds.
Thank you. Through the chair to the board, we did have grocery packing going on for our cop camp that's been around for, I believe we're in our 26th year of doing this, and they raise money and we bring the kids together. It's changed a little bit over the years through COVID and some challenges there, but officers are out there within the communities raising money for that event.
Excellent. Are there any other questions? Then I'm entertain a motion that the OPP report for the months of January, February 2024 be received. I'm looking for a mover. Mayor McNamara, a seconder, Rico. No other comments. All in favor? Thank you so much. Okay, we could move on to item G, reports. There are 2 lengthy reports to council, which I don't know. Are you going to go through those? I don't think we really need to. No, oh, good. Okay, so then we're looking for a motion that the reports CAO 2024 2 and CAO 2024-3, all with regard to the OPP Detachment Board, be received. Moved. Thank you, Mark. Seconded. Paul, all in favor? And thank you very much. Okay, we're on to item H, communications action required, and there are none this evening. So we can move on to communications for information purposes only. And we have one, which was the Solicitor General dated January 26th. It's an all chiefs memo under the new mandatory online learning. And that has been now been hammered in several times. And now our association has started talking about online learning, all in relation, of course, to the new Community Safety Police Services Act. So I think just looking for someone to the motion to receive. Rico, seconded. Gary, all in favor? And that is passed. Thank you so much. Item J, old business, transition to the OPP Detachment Board regarding as there's a CAO report. Margaret, are you speaking on that item?
Yes,
Excellent.
Mr. Chair, verbal. Yeah. Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair, to the members of the board. So as we just received the two reports that have been to council. So we have our local appointments to the OPP Detachment Board North, which is the name that we're going with at the moment until the board has stood up and wants to adopt a new name. So happy to report that our council representative is Mayor McNamara going forward. Our community representative is Paul Sweet going forward. And our at-large representative for 2024 is Chris Hales going forward. We understand that the provincial appointees to the board will not be made until after April the 1st. And that is done through the provincial secretariat. So that's out of the hands of any of the municipalities. I can also report that Essex and Lakeshore have also done their appointments for their community rep and their council reps. Both mayors, Mayor Bondi and Mayor Bailey, will be serving on the new Detachment Board North. And then their existing community representatives, Julie Johnson, I believe, and Dave Keegar are also serving for the remainder of this term of office. So we certainly have more than quorum, and the board will be able to hold its first meeting, which is scheduled now for April 22nd. And then we'll move forward with standing up that board. We've also brought to council an administrative arrangements report that still needs to be received and ratified by the town of Essex and the municipality of Lakeshore. But the tentative arrangements at this time are to have Tecumseh administer the board, as well as take care of the board budget. So once those arrangements have been accepted by the two other municipalities, we'll move forward with developing a job description for board administrative support. While Ellen has agreed to do that role in the interim until such position is filled, she then will sunset her services to that board. As well as the financial administration, we're now working on a detailed budget for the board, which will consist of the three budgets that were approved for 2024 by the three municipalities, and amalgamate those and bring that forward for council's consideration in April, and then the board's consideration thereafter. So we are moving forward, Mr. Chair, with the arrangements for the new board. I think Ellen and I both participated, and I think at least one member of the board participated in the Zone 6 and the OAPSB information sessions held today, just to ensure that we've got all of our bases covered and that we're not dropping any balls it's an interesting time to set up the new detachment board without the regulation in hand. So we do have a legislation, but and a description of the regulation, but we do not yet have the OPP detachment board regulation available to us. So we're making the best of it. And I think the Ministry of the Solicitor General is being flexible to try to help us along post April 1st to get these boards underway. And just want to assure everyone that, and the OPP has provided their assurance that there will be continuity of service. There's no risk of lack of coverage. Those services will continue as we have enjoyed them in the past, and no need to be concerned about the security of the communities. So that is my report to you, but I'm happy to take any questions, Mr. Chair.
Well, yeah, I can't open it up for questions if anybody has any. I certainly, you didn't comment upon, at council, you talked about a potential part-time position that will be a big job for the first couple of years. Maybe you would like to just talk on that.
Certainly, Mr. Chair, through you. The intention is to take on a part-time board administrative support position. Once again, subject to concurrence by Town of Essex and Municipality of Lakeshore. And if that is universally agreed to, then we will develop the job description and sort out what percentage of an FTE, a full-time equivalent, will be required for the job, and the best arrangements for hiring that individual before we post for that job. So, I think we have good working experience through Ellen's tenure, as well as the administrators in the other two municipalities. So we have lived experience of that position. We feel confident that we will be able to develop a fulsome job description and sort out the arrangements. The expense for that position will then be shared by the three municipalities as part of the amalgamated board budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. I appreciate that. Yeah, and just anecdotally, a conversation before we started the meeting, Paul was sharing that some of the comments from other boards, especially our far northern boards, about how they haven't even started the process. So I think Essex County should be very proud of themselves that we're kind of homing in on starting on the 1st. So that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. We'll move on if there's no other comments. Please,
Just to comment, just add to that, you just mentioned in terms of how, I guess, progressive, I think that we've been here, and I know she's very modest, but the three administrators from the three communities, and that led by obviously our CAO, has done tremendous work, and also support with Ellen preparing a lot of documents and so forth on our behalf. So certainly on behalf of us around this table, and that, I want to certainly thank you, Margaret, for your leadership on this, and then also to both Doug and certainly Trooper and the others that have really come together to to advance this and hit the ground running. So thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome very much. Certainly, and it has been a pleasure to work with my colleagues. It's actually the legal counsel for Lakeshore, Susan Hirota, and Doug Sweet, the CAO for Essex, and myself, that have been meeting regularly, supported by Ellen and also Christina Ebert. So we've been soldiering on together and making progress.
And it's very refreshing to see the way it moved forward in comparison to the early things we got from our association that were so out of whack with what reality is. So it's wonderful that, that our CAO could, wrangle this up and said, okay, no, this is the way we have to proceed. And, certainly our obligations of the municipal act, et cetera, were far different than what our board was proposing. So we could maybe move on to item K, which is this being the final meeting of the Tecumseh Police Service Board under the existing act. Maybe it's appropriate to have some recognitions. And from the board, Rico had asked to say a few words as a board member. So please go ahead, Rico.
Thank you very much. I guess basically for me, policing started in grade school. In 1987, I was offered a job with St. Clair Beach Police, Windsor Police, and I was in the final stages with RCMP. And I chose St. Clair Beach Police because I want to stay right here in Tecumseh and police my friends and family. And I'm proud of what this detachment has done in this area. I'm proud of what you've done, Jamie. Since when I left, you've done tons of things in this community what Tecumseh needs. So thank you very much for what you've done and the leadership you've given to our officers. Thank you very much. Ellen and Marg, thank you very much for all your hard work, all the administrative side of keeping this community safe. It's very important to have, and I appreciate all your work. Chris, Paul, and Mark, thank you guys. You guys did a great job. I know our public safety will continue with the leadership that we're going to have. And Mr. Mayor, as usual, you're a great leader in our community, and thank you for all your hard work. So thanks to everybody. Sorry, my time is only a year and a half long, but I'm sure I'll stick my nose in policing as we continue on.
Excellent. Mark, I think as our provincial appointee to the board, would you please, if you have any words you'd like to share?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's been an honor to serve on this board since 2019. Just the other day, I felt like I was just starting. Got the provincial appointment, but it's been an honor to serve our community, Tecumseh, and everyone being a provincial rep. I personally want to thank Ellen right off the bat because she helped me so much at the very beginning, bringing me minutes to my house when we still used to do that back in the day. I'm very appreciative. And anytime I called her just to get clarification on something that I wasn't sure of, she was always there. So thank you so much from me. Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for your leadership. Mr. Mayor, it's been a pleasure working with you. Alan, you've been fantastic. And you are such a leader on the administration of the whole town of Tecumseh. To our Staff Sergeant, Jamie Smith, I want to thank you. The times that I've called upon you for asking some questions and you've answered them, not here in the boardroom but also just privately. I appreciate that. And Inspector Angela, you're fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us and taking on and keeping the safety of Tecumseh alive and making sure that all our citizens are taken care of. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And finally, our other provincial representative and our vice chair of our board. So Paul Sweet, please.
Oh, thank you. This will be 48 years in law enforcement for me this year, and probably from on the street to police services board to the ministries. But I have to reiterate what my colleagues have just said. I have dealt with a lot of boards over my years in municipalities, and what the professionalism and the amount of work that the administration does here in the town is just incredible. Like what you pulled together in such a short period of time with changing the act and the whole structure of our boards is truly remarkable. Like my hat's off to you. It was incredible. And Ellen, thank you. I mean, you're the best one of the administrators that I've ever dealt with. But no, thank you. Thank you so much. And again, my colleagues, Chris, I mean, great leadership, on this board and through this getting us to this particular point. Your worship, boy, you've taken an OPP board, for so many years and taken it and set an example across the province. Absolutely, like what this town been able to do. It's incredible. And hopefully we can meet the challenges that are coming. And again, I have to probably apologize. I probably said some negative things about OPP in my time as a municipal officer, but you proved me wrong. But no, I've had a great relationship with the Ontario Provincial Police over many years. And again, great examples of your service and your credit to your organization. Thank you very much. So you guys, you guys have been great and made a lot of friends in this board, and hope to continue. But thank you very much.
Just excellent. Maybe one out of school, maybe we can share, Ellen, is several years ago under Fred Costin, and it was brought up about, our policies and procedures manuals. We were in a meeting and So we started, sharing some information, and all of a sudden we looked around the room and there were all these blank expressions for police boards that have been established for a long period of time. So after this meeting, people were coming up to Ellen and I say, could you send us a copy of your policies and procedures manual so we can see what's in them? We said, absolutely not. It took blood, sweat, and tears, and mostly all on Ellen's part to pull that together. It's a comprehensive thing we have, and it's really wonderful that we have Ellen to do those kind of things. So that's just a little out of school stuff, but it's the truth. So I guess it's my turn, and I pulled some thoughts together. So I'd like to conclude these final comments from our board members by saying that it's been a great privilege to serve the citizens of Tecumseh since joining the Police Services Board in 2010. Since I became chairman of the board in 2012, I've had the honor of working with 3 detachment commanders, Inspectors Darris, Miller, and now Ferguson. Each has shown great respect for this board and a cooperative spirit in working with me personally, and for that, I am truly grateful. We have seen our Ontario Association of Police Service Boards, our provincial association, grow in stature under our previous executive director, Fred Kostanen, to become, in his words, the voice of police governance in Ontario. Our association's 2011 presentation of a white paper on the recovery of approximately $2 billion in unpaid vehicle fines brought us status in the eyes of the government and opened the doors to the Ontario legislature to our association for the first time. The Justice Morden report, written in the wake of the 2010 G20 fiasco in Toronto, brought us all into sharp focus with respect to our obligations as board members to maintain strong governance and open communications with our police services, especially in crisis situations. The truck blockade in Ottawa further illustrated the pressures that can split a police board in a time of crisis. And we were reminded that we as a board must act with one voice and with one clear mandate, with no room for personal political gain. We all learned valuable lessons in the relationship between the police service boards and their police services as a result of the findings of the Ontario Civilian Police Commission for the municipalities of Peterborough and Thunder Bay. Over the past half decade, our association was privileged to work with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and other select groups to craft the framework for our new Community Safety and Policing Act 2019. I thank our Mayor, Gary McNamara, for his participation in the committee and his insight and leadership in this endeavor, and also his willingness to share the progress of the work of the FPAC committee. As we stand at the dawn of a new Community Safety and Policing Act, I reflect back on the vast changes that have taken place over the rather casual pace of many of our Ontario boards in the 2010 era, to the new mandate of enhanced training and greater commitment, and to a much deeper association with our OPP detachment. The new Essex North Police Service Board will be tasked with assisting the Ontario Provincial Police in creation of an annual business plan tailored to the specific needs of our 3 communities. As well, the new board will be tasked with setting measurable standards and goals for our detachment commander. And that's a big shift in board obligation indeed. Finally, on a personal note, I would be greatly remiss. I just dropped something. Yep. There, sorry. Finally, on a personal note, I'd be greatly remiss if I did not acknowledge the enormous and very professional assistance afforded to me over the years by our board recording secretary, Ellen Prochak. She has always proven to be cooperative to the board's needs, but most importantly, Ellen is an astounding archivist and a repository of all things police board. And I thank you personally, Ellen. I also must share that both Ellen and Margaret have had to suffer through endless pen clicking episodes during our live stream meetings, until they both laid down the law that I was only to bring non-clickable pens to the meetings. Now, as I am married for over 53 years, I know that arguing with the female side of the equation is hopeless. So I am now a stick pen aficionado. So in conclusion, the past 13 years have been challenging, enlightening, and personally fulfilling. They have afforded me the opportunity for professional growth, for personal growth, for meaningful service to my neighbors here in Tecumseh. And for that, I am deeply grateful. Thank you. So in a modern era, we still run in paper, so I have to find that. So this is a good opportunity maybe for our detachment commander to say a few words. This may shoot down everything we said previously, so please, Angela.
Thank you. On behalf of Staff Sergeant Smith, who's going to have a couple of comments right after me, myself, all of the OPP members, both uniform and civilian, in Essex County. We thank each of you for your part and your support, your unwavering support of us over the many, many years. You've continuously recognized the hard work and the dedication of all of our officers, and we are very grateful for that. We look forward to continued collaboration with Tecumseh, as well as working with the new board on vision for safer communities. And I'm going to turn it over to Jamie, but thank you.
Thanks, Inspector. I've had the honor and pleasure of working with all of you for the past 5 years, and really, I couldn't pick a better team of people to work with, and you guys made the transition into my new role very easy. It was very easy. You guys seem to be way ahead of the curve on a lot of things. And for the counselors that are here tonight, I appreciate you bringing all the issues forward to me, whether it be through the board, through Marg or Ellen. I try to deal with them, and if we don't know about them, we can't act on them. So I just want to thank everybody on the board for being very accommodating, holding me accountable at each of the meetings. You guys are doing amazing work, and I know we're fortunate to move forward with the board members that are going to stick around. And your worship, I appreciate you speaking out for the officers all the time and thanking them for the work. Truly, without the support of our members, the inspector and I and the detachment and the communities can't move forward without their buy-in from us and without the support being handed out by all of you. And we always share that messaging from all of you, the support that you've provided to us. So I really appreciate that. And I look forward to continuing to work with all of you.
Well, we thank you, certainly. You know, this job is not an abstract job. It's not a blue sky thinking kind of a job. And I think everybody on this board and all the boards that I've been privileged to be with, maybe starting with the mayor, is we always appreciate the boots on the ground. The hard work that's done by our members of our police service. And when we gather here, only 2 people in this room are wearing a bulletproof vest. So that brings into really sharp focus the seriousness of what you face every day. And we're just a small part of that. We enjoy and the role that we have to provide in order to fulfill the needs of our Constitution in this country of governance of the police service. But we don't do the police service. But we stand in constant appreciation for the service. So for that, all of us, I'm sure we all thank you. So maybe we can move on. Your worship, you're on.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And just before I get into my remarks and so forth, you know, during my life, you know, policing has been, I would say, a huge part of my being. Starting way back when I was about 7 years old, and I was a pretty decent hockey player, even at that time at 7. I was, you know, my first coaches and sponsors when I played travel hockey from Adam right up to my midget years in the city of Cornwall. It was through the police association. And all the coaches that coached us over the years, and I had one coach, at least I had him for probably close to about 8 years, by the name of Lloyd McCullough. He was a police officer in our community. not OPP, but he was a police officer. And I really believe that the character build by getting involved in extracurricular in a good way, playing sports over the years, but the leadership through the Police Association of Cornwall and the officers that donated their time and money in order to support the youth within our community. And then from that point on, and that I married a wonderful lady who her father spent a better part of 30 years with the Ontario Provincial Police. And my sister, who married into the police department as well, but through the RCMP. And so I've been, it's not a difficult thing to certainly support our men and women. Knowing firsthand in terms of, it was always in our minds, whether my brother-in-law or my father-in-law, you know, every day reporting to work, if they would come home, you know, certainly to their families and so forth. So not an easy job, as alluded by the chief. And a lot of folks really don't understand until you actually walk in the shoes of a police officer, not only facing, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly that's out there as well, but just the perception of the general public and what you have to do. And you have to be apolitical. You have to be, you know, basically there to support the greater good of the community. And sometimes you have to do things that some people really don't understand. So, so I certainly appreciate that and everything that our men and women, what they do and what they confront on a daily basis. So with that, you know, good afternoon and to everyone, and certainly those who are viewing today, as we gather here today for what marks the final Police Service Board meeting under our current structure. I'm filled with the sense of gratitude for the dedicated service of each member who has contributed to this board since its inception in 1999. Over the years, we've developed a dynamic relationship with our OPP partners, sharing perspective, ideas, and strategies aimed at enhancing public safety and strengthening community police relations. With the tireless efforts of our council members and our invaluable input of our community representatives, this board has served as a vital forum for collaboration, innovation, and accountability within the law enforcement framework set out by the Police Services Act. Now we're looking ahead. I'm eager to embark on a new phase of collaboration with the incoming Essex County OPP Detachment Board North, and with fresh perspectives and renewed energy. And I am looking forward to continuing to work with some of you and expanding our network to include our neighbors in Lakeshore and Essex. This unified approach highlights our dedication to building a safer and stronger communities. I would like to thank Christopher Hales for his leadership as chair of the board over the years, as well as Paul Sweet, our vice chair. Paul and Chris and myself will carry on in the new detachment board. And Councillor Tonio completes his service as a board member this evening, and we hope that Mark Gomes will continue to serve on the new board as a provincial appointee. I would also like to thank Councillor Tonio for bringing his 30 years of experience to the table, and also the human side of what a police officer has to face on a daily basis. I also want to extend my thanks to the CAO, Margaret, who has served as a board secretary, and Ellen Pruchat, who is the glue that keeps this board together. As a recording secretary to the board for 17 years, thank you for your patience and your hard work. And as I said, keeping us informed. In closing, a number of councillors could not join us tonight, but asked me to extend their appreciation as well. And we have gifted each of our board members with a small token that's coming, by the way. I guess I let the cat out of the bag. A token for our appreciation for all of your hard work with the Tecumseh Police Services Board as the curtain call closes this evening. Thank you to everyone. Mr. Chair.
Your worship, thank you very much for your kind words. That's good. Brian, you know, if you're here, would you like to say a few things? It's not no obligation, but be good.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to all of our board members. Thank you, and the board members who aren't here, board members who have served in the past, right? Certainly thank you for your service, your dedication, and the continued commitment to make and keep Tecumseh, the home that it is. Thank you, Ellen, for, your work. It's great to hear all the, nice things that, everyone has said. And it's the administration that, allows the board members, that allows council members to do what we do, and we can't do it, without you and your support. So thank you. And thank you to our members of the OPP. Thank you for your service, past, present, and future. You can be guaranteed that around the council table, we will advocate, bring the information forward, let you know, what we're hearing and we're seeing. But thank you for all that you've done and all that you will continue to do. Councilor Tonio, again, thank you for, your service. The one thing that I, enjoy, and I think that's unique around council, is everyone brings something different. And I always enjoy the community safety and the flavor that you bring, because it's not something that, I see and I'm part of. So thank you for your, perspective around the council table and here on the board. And Mayor McNamara, thank you for your continued leadership. So thank you.
Okay, that's good. And James, do you have something you'd like to add, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the board. I just want to echo the words that Councillor Houston just said. Just thanks for all current and past members of the police board and the OPP that have safeguarded our community for decades and for decades to come. So just thank you for that. And I know that, well, I never served as a police officer. I know what the commitment it takes as a soldier to serve one's country. So I understand and appreciate the dedication that our OPP officers have to our town. So a special thank you to all current serving officers, and you two especially. Thank you.
Okay, so Margaret, this is pretty tough. This is going to follow these wonderful speeches here now.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chair. There's no pressure. Yes, this is a historic moment for sure, where we have the sunset of the Police Services Act and the sunset of the Tecumseh Police Services Board. It's been a pleasure to work and serve all of you on this board over my last 5 years with the town as your board secretary. I do look forward to moving forward with the OPP Detachment Board North. It'll be different, though. It won't be quite as close-knit, I think, as what we've been able to achieve here. So this has been a very special opportunity for us. And, certainly we continue to enjoy a good working relationship with the OPP service. We just think of you as an extension of Team Tecumseh. We know that you're only a phone call away, or a text, or an email, and you've been so responsive to all of our needs that it's been a very good collaborative experience, and we look forward to that same relationship moving forward. I do want to specifically recognize and thank Ellen for her service to the Police Service Board. I know that you have all mentioned her specifically, but certainly I can't do what I do without her unwavering support and her professionalism. She has been a stalwart to service this police service board, and her steady support has served you well. I think she is works diligently behind the scenes to keep everything on track and keep us all foursquare with the public meeting and record keeping requirements and the act. And while she has agreed to continue as recording secretary in the interim, the service, her service will discontinue to the new board once the new administrative support person is in place. So Ellen, in recognition of your service to the board, I would like to present you with a gift of appreciation. Thank you very much. And we'll just have a little round of applause for you. I'll give you an opportunity to speak as well.
Thank you very much. It was unexpected, but very much appreciated. It's been a pleasure to work with this board for the past 17 years. When I started with the town, I was coming from the private sector and did not, I had a lot to learn about public service and the public sector. So falling into my role as executive assistant was very educational, and then taking on the new role with the Police Services Board was a great learning experience for me. I did not know anything about policing, learned a great deal about what happens behind the scenes in our community and how hard our police work to keep us safe all the time, and the great relationship that we have with the municipality. It's been an honor to serve the board. I've tried to do so diligently over the years, and we've had some good times at conferences and meetings, and I will certainly miss the camaraderie as well. So thank you very much.
Well, are there any other comments before we? I guess it's appropriate then that we call for a motion to adjourn for one last time. The Tecumseh Police Board. I'm looking for a mover. Mark, a seconder. Yeah, seconded by Ricardo, and all those in favor. And so passed. Thank you very much. We're done.